This podcast will fail. Mostly because nobody will listen to it. But you might prove me wrong. Who knows? And on we are to episode 5. And I've been rather pleased with the audio quality here in the front seat of the car in the picturesque park, and it's been good. It's been weird, having been someone that creates things, audio and video and writing and graphics. Being a creator, you always find yourself more critical of your own work, and any artist is like that. Any painter is like that. You're never truly satisfied with what you create. You know, there may be a momentary feeling of, yeah, no, this is great, and then as soon as you publish it, as soon as you release it to the world, it's, I should have done this. No, that wasn't right. I should have changed that. And that's normal. I was listening through the audio, and it was odd because there were so many moments over the last 4 episodes where I thought, God, why did I say that? And gee, I really should have positioned this way. And I have to remind myself that the whole point of this podcast is to do the exact opposite of everything I've ever done. The goal here is to not produce to any great degree, right? Other than the most egregious things, I'm not sitting here trying to fabricate something. These are truly conversations with myself that I just happen to be putting in a public sphere, experimenting to verify my thought process of, if I don't say anything about this podcast to anyone I know, then no one will watch it. No, that's stupid. No one will listen to it. See? And as I go tonight to sit down and edit this, I'm talking to myself right now, pal. You're going to be tempted as hell to take out that last misstatement. Don't do it. Leave it alone. Keep going. This is like self-therapy, I think. This is me working through my issues. And if you happen to be somebody that stumbled on this thing and you're listening to this thing, well, congratulations, thank you. And I'm not sure if you're going to find this interesting or compelling in any way. But this first season, this season 1, 15 Years of Failure, is really meant to help me work through my frustration out loud in this setting. So that's what it is, and that's what it does. So let's pick up the thread where we left off. Yesterday, I brought us all the way up to 2012. I found another piece of revelation in understanding that my attempts to be creative, i.e. noticed, i.e. popular, i.e. famous, were all tinged with this unspoken desire to own a business and become independently wealthy. I don't know if wealthy is the right word, but to become independent of a full-time job working for somebody else. Talked a little bit about the the wind down of the internet radio station and the ending of my weekly broadcasting as a character, putting on a morning zoo Howard Stern type talk show for 4 years, thinking for a moment that I was going to be some kind of a digital artist and sell voiceover and graphic arts services on like Fiverr and my own website, and understanding that a combination of analysis paralysis, imposter syndrome, and a complete lack of seed money is what stopped me. Okay, there's your recap there. Let's move forward. We got other things to talk about. So, 2012, I turned the machine off. I stopped. Just flat out 100% stopped and decided that I didn't have anything else to say, and I didn't have anything else itching to be let out creatively, right? I think I might have once or twice started pecking at a keyboard again in terms of trying to pick up the thread on fiction writing, but I can't even clearly remember other than like a cursory glance in that direction at some of the old things that I had tried to write. So there were, I don't think there were really any false starts there either. I think it honestly was a creative desert for a long time, and I focused on real life, and I focused on trying to rebuild my career. I've talked about this creative life I've had for the last 15 or 20 years, and I've still got more to say, but 2012 was actually the first real time that I was climbing out of the financial pit that had opened up under my feet with the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. So I guess I'll pivot a little bit, and instead of talking all about the creative endeavors and failures, I will talk about the real life stuff. So in one of the episodes early on, it might have even been the episode 0, I don't remember, but I mentioned how I'm basically an office jockey. I'm a people leader. I'm a supervisor. I'm a manager. I work in operations and call centers. I currently work for the local cable company, and I manage representatives in an office setting. That's what I do. It's what I've done for most of my career. There was some time in there where I was obviously working my way up, being one of those office worker type people, call center people, before I finally got into management and all that. But it kind of changed direction very rapidly. Right when I was starting that radio show, I had taken a job as a salesperson on the road and started making a lot of money. And again, I told you the story of how working on the road and driving on the highway and listening to Howard Stern inspired me to do the radio show. And we got to 2009 and the world started falling apart. The financial crash that started at the tail end of 2008 carried itself through into 2009, and I watched with some trepidation as the financial world started to kind of teeter. And I guess to kind of put some perspective on it, I went on vacation. I remember, I believe it was May, possibly May or June of 2009. And I took the family to Washington, D.C. for like a week. And just to try to put a little bit of context around it. So I was responsible for being that account executive to a whole bunch of mortgage banks and mortgage brokers and that type of mortgage people. They were my customer, and they brought me business, and I made money off of helping them create business. And so I had an assistant who worked all of my deals were all worked out of New York City. And I clearly remember my assistant saying to me, "Hey, don't worry about it. I've got this. Don't take your laptop. Don't take your cell phone. You are on vacation. You need to unplug and go enjoy time with your family. You're not here. Don't worry about any of this. I got it." I said, "Okay, all right. Well, here we go. I'm going to go enjoy. Thanks so much." And right then, as I was on vacation, was when a whole bunch of stuff went wrong in the financial services industry. I told you how these people were my customers, right? Mortgage banks, mortgage brokers, real estate agents. These people are all my customers. And I had about 180 active customers, businesses that were doing business with me on a monthly basis. 180 of them, individual companies. When I got back and I started seeing all of this weird financial news and started seeing reports of small mortgage companies going bankrupt and Wall Street getting nervous and all of these things happening with mortgage loans, I was a little nervous, but I'm like, hey, you know what? I work for one of the big three banks in the entire world. We are secure. We are fine. Yeah. Out of the 180 customers, when I got back to work the first day after vacation, half of them had been, quote unquote, shut down and suspended by the Attorney General of my state. Their loans had been put on hold. I was moving about $5 to $8 million worth of mortgage loans every single month, which meant that new applications going in and then getting the house purchase goes through and then they close and they close. So that's a revolving door of about 15 to 20 plus million worth of deals that are going in, and then about 5 to 8 million come out and finish, and I make commission on those. Great. So of that 15 to 20 million, 80% of it had been put on hold, had been basically put into audit, again, by the state attorney general. Fraud was the big word. Investigations, and everything ground to a halt. And I managed to eke out about another 6 to 8 months of existence in that world before it all fell apart. Basically, my bank that I worked for, one of the big three banks in the country, was one of the ones that mostly emerged unscathed, right? We didn't get whacked upside the head like Bank of America and Citibank, and we didn't get shut down like some of the, you might have heard, the names of banks like Countrywide Mortgage and a couple of these other ones that were big national players literally shut down. We didn't get caught up in that way, but our business had been basically decimated. We didn't have any customers anymore. And the bank that I worked for had made the decision that we're just going to get out of this business altogether. We're only going to do mortgages through our branches, and that's it. This whole broker network, this person, me, I almost said my name, by the way. You still don't know my name. You're all done. We all got laid off, and this was towards the end of 2009, beginning of 2010. And that hurt a lot. And now it was like a big scramble to figure out what I'm supposed to do professionally, how I'm supposed to support the family, and not burn through my savings and find a new job. Yeah, none of that happened. We burned through the savings. Just trying to stay afloat. I was on job board after job board and interview after interview, and nothing was working out. I sold, for Christ's sake, I landed selling advertising for the phone book, for the Yellow Pages. Never made a damn dime. That landed me a job in a car dealership. For Christ's sake, it was a Dodge dealership, and I was a used car salesman for almost a year. That was most of 2010, 2011. God, it was painful. 2012 came around again, and I actually got an opportunity to get back into the bank. They had reopened some operations, and I guess it's like poetic justice that the job I got hired to do was back inside an office as an agent, as a representative, not as a supervisor. So add insult to injury. And the job they hired me to do was to assist homeowners who were going through foreclosure, because you may also remember the financial crisis was millions upon millions upon millions of people having their homes foreclosed on. So I found myself sitting there trying to act as like an advocate, basically a loan processor, and work with people who were about to lose their houses to try and keep them in their houses. It was miserable. It was soul crushing. It was that bad. The only thing worse had been in 2010. I had a short stint at a cold calling sales call center. Oh God, that was horrible. Selling office supplies over the phone. Jesus Christ. That was soul crushing. That was a nervous breakdown in 2010. 2012 wasn't much better, but at least I was stable again. At least I was getting back. And to tie all of that, real world, real life stuff into the magic land of internet radio, I talk with such nostalgia about the experience of hosting that show and building that station. It was, the all of that creative endeavor was actually kind of the therapy for me at that point. That was one of the things that kept me sane, was realizing that every Saturday night I could put on my quote-unquote costume, put on my character, go live on the air, and play the fool for 2 hours and have fun and have people, people be fans of mine. That's really odd, because without going through the conversation about the real-world financial ruin that I went through in the same period of time that I was finding a level of success with the radio show and the radio station. That is really interesting. And I guess that is today's point of realization for me, and how those two things tied together. And again, here I am, not realizing that this is not the direction I intended to go with this episode of this podcast. I was gonna talk about this desert of time after 2012, when I just didn't create anything. I was gonna spend this 20 minutes talking to you about that, but I realized now, there was more I needed to say about 2010, 2009, that whole period of time, all the way up to 12, when I tried to hit a reset button, and those two things, I guess, weighed very heavily on each other, and that is interesting to me. So I guess then, hopefully, when I go after this again tomorrow, and tomorrow will be different because tomorrow's Sunday, and it's one of my 2 days off of work. So I'm not quite sure where or when I'll be recording this. It'll probably be at the fake Not Home studio that I'm recording it at. Not that it necessarily matters, because I'm really still just talking to myself. I very highly doubt that anybody started listening to this episode, and I very highly doubt, if they did, that they've made it all the way with me. So that's fine. If you're here, I commend you and I thank you. And we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully tomorrow I can get through quickly the creative desert, which was, for the record, 2012 through 2016. 2016 is really the next signpost on my journey as a creative person. So hopefully we'll talk about that tomorrow. I guess that is going to do it for this one. And wherever you are, whether you're listening to this or not, thank you. And I guess I just hope you have a good day out there.